Welcome to this session in Edgware United Synagogue's adult education program entitled The Making of a Professional Chazan with our own cantor, Yossi Schwarz. Edgware US has a long history of appointing distinguished cantors. Which other UK synagogue can compete with our roll call? Joseph Malavani, Asher Hainowitz, Ze'ev Torren, Steve Robbins, Shimon Kramer, and Johnny Turgle. This month concludes our shul's 90th anniversary. It was established in 1931, and this is the first of two sessions centered on our own community. If you're watching on Zoom, you can type in questions and comments in the chat, and if time permits, you can then discuss them with us at the end of the interview. And if you're on YouTube, we'll be monitoring your comments. Yossi, let's start with your background. You're a Mancunian, the son of a Stamford Hill-born sofer, a scribe. What took him to Manchester, and in which district did your parents live? Salford 7? And in which level of the Orthodox Manchester community did they participate?
Right, my father met this gorgeous woman and chased after her for weeks, and eventually she agreed to marry him. And she was born and bred in Manchester, and they tried to live in. My father was working for my grandfather at the time in Stamford Hill, and they decided that they're going to have a look in Manchester, see if the situation is different there, and they really liked it, and they bought a house, and that's how we ended up in Manchester. We grew up in what was called, what people like to refer to as the ghetto, which is Broughton Park. Chazan Marks and Alex Klein will know where Broughton Park is, just off of Leicester Road. And that's where I grew up. And it was, I grew up as part of the very Haredi community there, Machsika Adas. I went to a Hasidic school. But at the time when I was growing up, it wasn't really a ghetto. We had lots of non-Jewish neighbors. We also had, there was quite a few United synagogues around that area. United Synagogue affiliated synagogues in that area. So we had quite a few, all a big mixture of Jews. We had Heaton Park. We had Crumpsall was still going those days. There was another shul on Leicester Road, Rabbi Rubenstein in the cathedral. I'm not sure.
Central.
The Central Synagogue, thank you very much. And then, so we had people walking to and fro. People used to walk to shul those days, long distances. So we had like Chazan Marks come all the way from the bottom of Leicester Road. But plenty of people used to walk all the way up Leicester Road to go to Heaton Park, Central, to whatever. So it was a mixed community, really. But I grew up more in the more dense community, in Manchester.
Right, well, I understand that Orthodox Judaism and sacred music were part of your parents' family tradition. Your father's father, your grandfather, was a chorister at the Schiff Schule in Vienna, and your father's maternal grandfather, surname of Schiffman, was a Baltefiller in a Vienna synagogue. Your mother's maternal grandfather, with the surname of Lehmann, was a rabbi and Baltefiller in Fürth, Bavaria. So it's not surprising that you're following in father's and the family's footsteps. Let's now move on to your primary, secondary yeshiva education. Tell us something about your childhood and youth memories in Manchester up to the age of 17, and which, if any, of your teachers or anyone else influenced you. And adding to that, when did you first start singing and realize that you had musical talent? Were you in a school choir or play a musical instrument? And I know you led the first service from your bar mitzvah. Where was that? And did you then do it on a regular basis?
Right, so my interest in music started from when I was a little boy. I went to a Hasidic school, so anything in the Hasidic school is done in sing-song. So we sang through davening, we sang through our learning. Everything was with a sing-song, and also we had lots of what I suppose what a lot of people call a party, but really a get-together where the whole school would sing together, and they used to choose boys to sing solos. We're not talking about like a set choir. it was just more everybody together, people who showed a bit of talent, and they used to pick me a lot. I didn't know why. At the time, I thought they were just trying to be nice to me. Then in the years later, whenever we used to go to family occasions, they always asked my father and myself and my brother to sing something, and we used to sing these grand Mojit pieces together. We sang Bobov, a lot of David Verdiger's sort of style music, and we learned those from when we were very small. And I never understood why we were singing. I was a little child, didn't understand that was because we had extra talent or anything like that. But then slowly, as I was going through yeshiva, they picked me to be in the yeshiva choir. Then they asked me to do solo. The solo pieces that they asked me to do were mostly Rosenblatt pieces. One year I did Ritzei Asirosam, and another year I did, can't remember which other pieces I did. When we did Kalabach, they asked me to do the Chazanus parts of the Kalabach songs. I never actually thought about it much. I just took it for granted. Yeah, let Yossi do it. And then in the yeshiva, the davening on Yom Neroim, they used to get together a group of 20 boys to stand behind the Chazan to lead the singing. Very often the choir would sort of start a song before the Chazan. So the Chazan didn't have a great voice either. He was a Rosh Hashiva. So they needed a group of people to stand behind the Chazan, and when the Chazan feels a bit weak, then the choir can take over. And we were leading 400-500 people there in our choir. Again, I didn't take it for granted. I didn't think maybe I've got a good voice, maybe they're choosing me for any particular reason. And I suppose I started getting interested only in professional singing only much later, after I got married.
Right. Okay. So after yeshiva in Manchester, you then went on to yeshivas in Israel for 7 years from 1995, first in Bnei Brak, and from 1999 to 2002 in Mir Yeshiva. I think towards the end of that period, you started voice training. Who with and where?
Right. So I started with, after I got married, I found I wanted to become a professional singer, and I found this Chazan School of Music. It was led by a Russian professor, Dr. Weintraub, and we learned with him. We studied music. We studied different ideas in music. We studied different voice techniques. We also did tours around Israel and different synagogues, different shuls. We sang in a choir there. We did anything from liturgical to Broadway to all sorts of stuff, and it was a very, very interesting experience, I would say.
Right. So then you returned to England in 2003, living in London for the first time. Tell us more about the voice training you received from then onwards in this country.
Right. So when I first moved back, the first thing I did was I called up Chazan Hashel, Moshe Hashel, and I said I'll be interested in doing voice training. Who can you suggest? And he suggested a fellow called John Noble, who was a phenomenal vocalist, tall, elderly, eccentric gentleman who had such a phenomenal voice. The first time I went there, he asked him to give me a demonstration. He was sitting in front of his piano and he belted out a few notes. And when he stopped, you could hear the strings in the piano vibrating. But eventually I realized that it's not what I need. It's not what I wanted. I needed something more soft and more gentle to sort of ease my voice, not to start with big, heavy arias. That's what we were learning together, big, heavy opera pieces. And it wasn't good for my voice. I felt that I was straining my voice. I wasn't using my voice properly. So I decided to go to something more gentle. You want me to carry on?
Well, was there anything else you wanted to talk about voice training at that stage?
At that stage, no, he was just, I didn't go in for cantorial or operatic voice training.
Right.
I thought that I would be more, I wanted to be a wedding singer.
Okay. And what?
But then when he heard me, when he heard me sing, he said, no, you've got a classical voice, you need to do opera.
Right. And what public performances did you do up to 2009? I believe you officiated at the prestigious Hampstead Garden Synagogue for Yom in the Rhyme in 2008. How did you prepare for it, and what reception did you get? And any other public performances up till then?
Right. So we're talking with John Noble. I was with him in 2004. So we're going back. So we're jumping a bit ahead. But up until that stage, yes, I've been wherever I went. It's the curse of being me is wherever I go, people ask me, "Can you daven?" Even when I have a Shabbos off, we want you to daven. So even from when I was bar mitzvah, my actual bar mitzvah, I did Musaf on that day, and I got told off for dragging it out too long. That was my first introduction to Chazanus. It's not right. People are waiting for Kiddush. Anyway, we call those Jews JFK Jews, just for Kiddush.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you want me to talk about the evolution of my voice training.
Yeah, after 2009, yeah.
Yeah, so after John Noble, I was looking for something more lyrical, something more soft, gentle, to sort of ease my voice into, to find my child voice and then grow from there rather than just jump into the deep end. I found it was too much for me. I came across Chazan Steve Robbins. Can't remember how I came across him. I came across him and I went to him for quite a few, maybe 1.5 years. I went to him and we started off with basic singing. We did some, we didn't do chazanos, we didn't do opera. We did some more lyrical songs, some more like Broadway and things like that to try and get to my softer thing. After a time, I felt that I wasn't progressing enough. So I found a fellow from, there's some sort of association, voice training association in London. I found a fellow, he's an evangelist singer. He sings in churches and whatnot. He's very good. And I went to him and we did fantastic work. We actually used to do voice training in a church in Soho. So I was very proud to walk in there with my kapel on and sing some Jewish stuff in there. But eventually, from there, I moved on to a lady called Stevie. She's a rock singer. Stevie Lang. Stevie Lang is a rock singer. So she teaches people how to scream and how to shout and not lose their voice, which I found that experience very, very helpful. And then, last but not least, I found a wonderful fellow, very, very, very talented, and by far my best teacher. He was a Welsh opera singer called Gareth Roberts. He was absolutely phenomenal, and he took me down to basics. He made me forget all the voice training I've had until that day. And what he did with my voice was absolutely phenomenal. Unfortunately, he passed away a few years ago. I did hear that there were a few other chazanim who went to him. I didn't find his name through. I found his name through the Voice Training Association. But anyway, so he was the best voice trainer that I've had.
Right. And how did that lead on to Hampstead Garden suburb for Yom in the Rhyme?
Right. So in the meantime, during that time, I was davening in various shuls Yom Niraim. So I was davening by Dayan Geli Shul in Golders Green on the North Circular. I davened there for 4 years. And then I was asked by Dayan Abrahams to come and join his shul. So I used to do Shachris by Dayan Geli and then go to Dayan Abrahams and do Musaf there, which was a lot of fun running in between different shuls to do different things. And then I got a call, one year I got a call from Avrami Freilich, said that he wants to go away for Pesach. Can I please go and take over for him in Amsterdam suburbs? So I said, I'll do it gladly. However, I want something in return. So he said, what? So I said, you need a Chazan Sheni, don't you? She said, yes. I said, so I'm going to be a Chazan. I'm going to do Pesach for you and let you off the hook. You can go away for Pesach. I'll do Pesach in Norrisley, and then I'll be the Chazan Sheni in Norrisley. So he agreed. And I went for Pesach. It was lovely. And so for 4 years afterwards, I was the Chazan Sheni, which meant that me and Avrami used to swap. So one day he was in the shul, the next day I was in the shul. So we swapped over. And Yom Kippur, Kol Nidri, he was in the shul, and then Musaf. So we were always jumping around from pillar to post. It was a lot of fun. And that was before I got into Edgware United.
Right. Well, we now come to the main focus of the evening. In 2009, you decided to enter the Julian Klein Scholarship Concert at St. John's Wood Synagogue, the prize being a year's study at the Tel Aviv Cantor Institute. What motivated you to enter, and what preparation did you do for it?
Right. So going back a year before that, in 2008, I applied, and they said, no, you're too old. It happens to be that I knew Julian Klein very well, because I used to daven in monks, and he used to sit in the row in front of me. And he always used to turn around and say, I'm not a very good mimic, but he was like, he was a character. And so when I heard about this in 2008, when I heard about this thing, so I applied, and they said, no, you're too old. So the following year, I was anyway going to Chazan Hashel just to learn a bit of Chazanot. I'm going to all these non-Jewish voice trainers. That was my voice training, but I wanted to learn the beauty and the music of Chazanot. So I was going to Moshe Hashel for private lessons. And I said to him, look, I applied last year and they said I'm too old. I said, what are the chances that you can stick me in there? So he said, look, let me try. So I tried and I got in.
Right.
Now, to prepare, I found some lovely pieces that that spoke to me. Rosenblatt spoke to me. He's got a special neshama. His music's got a special soul to it, and he's got a very high, what I called Heimish intonations in his music, and it really spoke to me. So I chose, and then I went over with Moshe Hashel. I went over the pieces with him again and again, and I learned it again and again, and then I got into the into the actual competition, and the other contestants weren't very happy because they were much younger than me, and they said that this guy is already a chazan, so it's not fair that he should win. So he said, look, he won, nothing you can do. And somebody very generous decided that he's going to
I'll talk about that in a moment. Let's for the moment listen to your winning entry on the 2nd of April 2009 of the Philharmonic Chazanot competition in St. John's Wood Synagogue. This is Yossi singing Elohim Neshama by Yossi Rosenblatt. Right, well, 2 weeks later, on the 16th of April, the JC carried the following story about the secret prize for cantors. An anonymous benefactor has made the dreams come true for 4 budding cantors. The shortlisted contestants at the Julian Klein Scholarship Concert at St. John's Wood Synagogue each sang 2 melodies from the synagogue liturgy, and audience members, in true X Factor style, handed in voting slips for their favorite. Ultimately, Vox Populi was balanced by a panel of cantoral experts, and Yossi Schwarz was declared the winner for his presentation, vocal range, lyrical coloring, and passionate delivery. The next day, the director of the Philharmonic organization, Hirsch Hafton, who had presided over the concert, received a call from one of the 500-strong audience at St. John's Wood Synagogue. The man who wishes to remain anonymous insisted that all 4 entrants deserved the prize of a year's study at the Tel Aviv Cantoral Institute. The 3 other contenders, Nathan Fagelman, Yaakov Rostam, and Moshe Tatz, can now further their craft at the Israeli College. The concert was co-sponsored by the Jewish Music Institute, included performances from cantors Gedalia Alexander, Avrami Freilich, Moshe Heschel, and Jonathan Mergraf, with Rabbi Binyamin Bar making his debut cantoral concert appearance. Mr. Cashin says, "I was delighted at the quality of singing. Truly, it exceeded my expectations. We have shown young people there is something to aspire to in the world of Chazanut." I should add that the Tel Aviv Cantoral Institute is the world's leading institution training traditional Chazanim and Balei Tefillah. Graduates at Taki serve some of the most prominent synagogues in leading Jewish communities worldwide. This institute was founded with a vision and far-reaching perspective regarding the importance of preserving the world of Chazanut and Nusach Tefillah for generations to come. It has a special program devoted to training students from abroad. So what happened next? You made preparations to go to Israel. Were you given instructions on accommodation and how to adapt to life in Tel Aviv?
Okay, so I faced a quandary because I was married with 4 kids at the time, and sorry, not 4 kids, 3 kids at the time, and they were only paying. I found out afterwards they were only paying for the actual school. Now it made sense why they only wanted the younger people to join into the competition. So I was very hesitant, and I didn't quite know how I was going to be able to achieve this. Moshe Haschel kept sitting on my head, and he said, "You have to do it. You have to do it." Somebody laid out some money for me for flights, and the first few months I stayed by one relative, and then I found somewhere else to live. Somebody let me out their villa in Katamon, where I stayed there. So I used to be there in Israel for 12 days, fly back, be with my family for 10 days, and then fly back for 12 days. I don't need acclimatizing to Israel. I lived there for 7 years, so I felt very comfortable there. I actually feel more comfortable there than here, but that's another story.
Right. Well, let's now talk about the training that the Tel Aviv Cantorial Institute offers. Before we get on to the actual teaching, can you describe the regime and its discipline, who the teachers were, and your relationship with colleagues? Okay, so
Rosh Verishon, as they say in Hebrew, is of course the King Naftali Hershtik. He was the head of the institute, and he was the mastermind of the whole program. Then we had the musician Raymond Goldstein. He taught music, and he was also taught the intricacies of music and how to sing a piece properly within the music fashion, within the music scale, also to understand how to sing with a choir and how to sing with accompaniment, which most of us had no idea how to. Then we had Chazan Chaim Feifel, who was a disciple of, he learned by Glantz, and he also learned by Ganshoff. He was probably the best teacher that I had there. He taught how to construct tefillah, chazanos, and nusach, how to construct the actual, so not when you're singing a piece of chazanos copied from another chazan, but actually how to compose your own chazanot, how to compose your own nusach within the scale. It was absolutely mind-boggling, his teaching. We also had Chazan Shraga Hershtik, the most underestimated musician I know. He is an absolute phenomenal genius when it comes to understanding the intricacies of a piece of chazanos, where it's coming from, where it's going to, how to understand it, how to understand the tonalities, how to understand why this particular chazan is going from there to there, or what he's doing here and there. And he actually made us listen to a piece of chazanos and learn it very well, taught us where we're going wrong, taught us why we were going wrong. It's very, very, very delicate operations they were, and that taught me an absolutely phenomenal amount. We had lovely, lovely people there. My colleagues were all good, very good musicians, or at least a lot of them were. Some of them, unfortunately, fell by the wayside. They weren't quite as talented as they thought they were. And it was all about presentation. So we learned how to stand up there and sing in front of an audience, how to pace ourselves, how to interact with the audience. so it was a very, very, very full-on experience that it was.
Yeah.
Because I was coming from England, and because I was already I'd already trained a bit by, I forgot to mention before that Mordechai Sobel, Dr. Sobel, he gave me some lessons, and Chazan Moshe Stern, I went to him for a few lessons. So he gave me special preference. So I used to go to him every single day. I used to go around to his house. The actual college was only twice a week in Tel Aviv, but I used to go around to his house in Rehavia, and he used to teach me, used to sit by the piano, and we just used to sing, and he taught me how to sing, and how to not voice training, but how to express music, and how to understand the difference, how to understand the different tonalities of what, and hear and understand what I'm doing. The most important lesson Naftali Heshtik taught me was, I think this was the first lesson. He said, start Kabbalah Shabbos, right? So I started singing L'chud Ranana, etc. I came to Arba'im Shana, and he said to me, okay, I want you to tell me 3 different interpretations of those three verses. And I said, what on earth are you talking about? He said, come on, you went to yeshiva, you know what you're talking about, you understand Hebrew. I says, I want 3 different, complete opposite versions, interpretation of these verses. And on the spot, he gave me 3 different ones, with all the sources and all the Gemaras and the Talmud and the Midrash. And to me, that was such an eye-opener. You know, do we sing it in a Arba'im Shana in a sad way, or do we sing it in a happy way? Is it upbeat because it's Shabbos, or is it sad because of the actual words that we're singing? And it was such an eye-opener, and I couldn't get enough of it. And I went back to him for more and more and more. And ever since that first lesson, I really buckled down, and I taught myself Hebrew and taught myself how to understand the words and the context and the meaning. Sad, happy, beseeching, crying, joyful, meditative, and that's a very, very, very important part of Chazanot training.
And did they discuss the role of the Chazan in today's Kehillah and his social involvement, and the desired relationship between the Chazan and the rabbi, as well as other communal leaders?
Right, so as I mentioned before, I got special preference, which means that because I was flying to and from Israel, he wanted to condense my learning, so I wasn't part of all the lessons in Taki in the institute. So I missed out sight reading. I missed out a lot of basic things that they were teaching. Even voice training, I missed out. I missed out a lot of lessons there. A lot of courses, because he wanted me to be in a very concentrated lessons, very, very one-on-one, rather than being in a group. But with the social part of it, I actually did a social outreach course in Israel while I was doing while I was in Israel in yeshiva. 3 times a week we did this course, which was very, very useful. And it came into, I thought that I'd done everything for nothing, because I went on to do other things. But once I got my job in Edgewood United, then I realized that a lot of these things are very important when it comes to being a chazan, understanding the community, how to be at peace with the rabbi and the wardens, and just there's a lot of stuff going on, especially we all know what Jewish communities are like and what Jewish organizations are like. 2 Jews, 3 opinions, and one wants it slower and one wants it faster and higher and lower, shorter, quicker, too much crying, too much jolly stuff. So I think, with all that training, it helped me a lot to be able to balance out what I listen to, what I don't listen to, how to be polite, how to be affirmative, and that sort of thing.
Yeah. You mentioned that you had training how to sing with a choir. And of course, Taki is known for its wonderful choir, and you were part of it, sometimes the soloist with others, and sometimes you led it. So we're now going to play Gan Say, which you performed in Riga, Latvia, in September 2010. And maybe you can tell us, once we played it, how you came to be in Riga.
Okay.
Right, so tell us how you came to be in Riga.
Right, so that year there was a Jewish music festival going on. There was 2 weeks of Jewish music. I'm not sure if it was all Jewish music, but I think there was definitely a big faction of it was Jewish music. And somebody approached Naftali Hershtik at the time and said, we need some talent to go around Europe and spread a bit of music. So Naftali chose us four. That was myself, Chazan Bernholtz, Chazan Gerlitz, and I can't remember the other fellow's name. It was quite an interesting week. We started off in Dvinsk. That's the home of the whoever knows the Rogatchover, the very sharp Rebbe, the Rogatchover, and the Or Sameach, the Meir Simcha. That we dabbled in the only shul that's still around. It was very interesting, very, very interesting experience. There was no kosher food, so we only had fish and boiled potatoes. Finally, we were able to go from there, we went to Lithuania. So we Shabbos in Dvinsk, and then we went to Lithuania. We went to Vilna. And the rabbi there was amazing. He gave us a tour of the Vilna ghetto and the whole Vilna town, different historical places. And then there's only one shul there still in use.
The Choral.
And we did, sorry?
The Choral Synagogue.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was called, but we did
it's the Choral Synagogue.
Yeah, okay. If Alex says so, I believe him. And we did a concert there. And then the next day we traveled to Riga. In Riga, we did a concert on, I can't remember where, but one of the days we did a concert there, and then we did a concert in the opera hall there, together with Yossi Malavani. He was the star of the concert, obviously. We were just only allowed to do one piece together. Yes, that was Sasha Tusalik. Alex is right. Phenomenal fellow. Very, very talented musician. And it was definitely a very scary experience, but it was experience definitely. It was unbelievable.
Right. So now
Potatoes and herring for a week.
So being at Taki provided opportunities to perform at leading venues in Israel. So we're now going to move on to a performance at the Yeshurun Central Synagogue in May 2011 for Israel's 63rd Independence Day festive Chazanut concert. It's Rosenblatt's Yishtabach, and after we've played it, maybe you can tell us how you came to be chosen for it. So let's play it now. I'll not embarrass you with some of the comments I saw, but one of them said, "What an amazing voice, Yeshua, very impressive," and so on. So tell me how you came to be at the Ushurun there.
Well, as I said before, I was a bit of a favorite for Naftali. He liked me very much. Naftali, obviously, we know that he spent a long time here in England. So when he heard there's a budding Chazan in England, he was very excited. And we spent a long time together. We became very close. And when he wanted to do the concert in Ushurun, then he called me up and he said, Yossi, we want you to come and sing a few pieces.
Right.
So I flew over.
Okay.
It's very nice being a favorite of Chazan Hershtik, believe me.
Right. So let's now look at outdoor events. Unlike the UK, Chazanot performances in Israel can be performed in the open air and are frequently held at Migdal David in Jerusalem. So the solo we're going to play now was performed in mid-September, just under 2 weeks before Rosh Hashanah. And we're going to play V'chol Ma'aminim.
By Moshe Ganshoff.
Yes. And with Raymond Goldstein at the piano. Can I ask you, does singing in the open air require a different technique?
Singing when you're very tired and you're jet lagged and you just come off an airplane, definitely you do need a special technique. But that was vocally, I wasn't very good that day at all. I was extremely tired, but the show must go on, as they say. But the favorite part of that piece was the last of Maricha. So those who understand music and know how music is written,
yeah,
that last af is a cross.
Right.
And me and Raymond had a lot of fun practicing that af, but that was a lot of fun.
Right, we're going to listen to another piece there, authored by Moshe Ganchov, this time with the Tel Aviv Cantor Institute Mal Choir, conducted by Maestro Naftali Hirschtick with Raymond Goldstein at the piano, and directed by Dr. Motti Friedman. It's Atoni Glader. Time is moving on, so let's get back. You're back in London in January in 2012, and you're in demand clearly because we've got a recording now of a singing at a concert at Hampstead Garden Suburb with the Naima Singers. We're going to play Glantz's Shema Yisrael, which I think only a highly trained professional cousin should sing, similar to Rumshinsky's Bavur David. So let's listen to that now. Well, I was going to play another piece from that concert, which was Avinu Sheba Shemayim, when you were singing with the famous American cousin Yankee Lemma. But as I said, time is moving on. So I'm going to play one final piece from that period. The following month in February, you flew back to Israel, and we have this very fine choral piece, part of which you sang this Shabbos in Edgware. It's the Tel Aviv Cantoral Institute Choir, led by Cantor Naftali Hirschtick, and presenting Mizmor Shir at the UWS Jewish Center Cantoral Winter Concert. This setting, Psalm 30, was composed by Oscar Julius, a well-known choir master who served numerous congregations in the New York area. let's find out with your appointment at Edgware United in November 11. Can you remember any special pieces when you auditioned and what the appointment process was like?
It was a long time ago, so I don't actually remember.
Okay.
The audition process was a Jewish process, shall we say. I was told, come for a Shabbos, and we would like to hear you audition. So I had a bit of favoritism there because Stephen Goldman, our faithful and beloved warden, he is a big fan of Naftali Hershtik, and he heard that one of his disciples is back in England, and he was very excited. So I went in on a right foot, shall we say. I went to try out for a Shabbos, and I wasn't sure. You know, I wanted to keep my options open. So, you know, I was still young and free, as they say. Before you sign a contract, it's a bit daunting. And I got a phone call from somebody we had just come back from a tour in America with Naftali. So we were in Florida. So I got this gentleman invited me to come to West Palm Beach to sing at his grandson's bar mitzvah. And he was really pushing for my appointment there. It's opposite the big hotel where all the stars go to. I can't remember what it's called. Literally on the beach, beautiful place. Unfortunately, they realized, or fortunately for me, that they had to find somewhere within walking distance of the shul to be able to, because I think me and the rabbi were the only Shomer Shabbos there. So they realized it would be too expensive to take me on. They were hoping that I would somehow give up my religious beliefs and, you know, drive to shul on Shabbos. Come on, you can do it. It's you know, it's for the money, we'll pay you so well. And I said, no, thank you. And I came back to England and I called up Stephen, and we had another meeting and they signed me on. It was very exciting. It was coming up to, I think it was around Shavuos time. So they said, we're not going to sign you on quite yet because it's too close to Rosh Hashanah. We already got somebody for Rosh Hashanah. So your first official role in the shul would be on Shmini Atzeres. So before that, I had to try out again on Pesach. And then there was another Shabbos. They kept asking me to come back and audition. I think because the Edgware United didn't have an official Chazan at the time. I think they decided to use me as much as they can before they have to pay me. We love Edgware United. Yeah, and that November I was signed on.
And you're pleased you came?
Sorry?
I said you're very pleased you came.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Right, well, we're going to have 1 minute now of the Yossi Schwarz in 2021. It's going to be the first night Slichas, and we're just going to play 1 minute. Wrong piece.
Wrong piece.
Eloi hai oznecho ushemo ekach einecho shoy me Shimon Shimecho Oleho.
Right. Alex, I think that you wanted to come in.
Thank you, Spencer. I am so proud, and I've got plenty of nachas from Chazan Yossi, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I mean, this is what it's all about. I'd like to tell everybody how we came about with the Julian Klein Scholarship, because I think it's important to know. My twin brother, Sholem, who was mentioned before by Yossi at Monks, was a rabbi, was a chazan, a teacher, and a special needs teacher. Unfortunately, he passed away at the age of 56. And just by chatting to my wife, she had the opinion, let's do something to honor my brother's memory. So why not a scholarship? Why not do something? So we saw the Julian Klein Scholarship, and what is near and dear to my brother Sholem was Chazanos. And we both thought how important the future of Chazanos and Chazanim are. And I had a chat with Naftali, who was an extremely good friend of mine. We're very close. And I said, would you like to be a partner with me and have the Julian Klein Scholarship? And he said, what a wonderful idea. And I think to raise money originally, after my brother died, we had a concert in Finchley Synagogue when Naftali flew in, and Raymond Goldstein came in from Israel, and Elka came, and she was in Florida visiting Nathaniel, and she flew in because, again, they were all personal friends of our family when they first came to Finchley. And we raised money to send boys to Tel Aviv. Besides Natan and the other boys that were successful since then, Albi Chait has been and benefited from it, and Nathan Goldman, who at the age of 16, I persuaded Naftali to take him in. He wasn't going to take anybody in of that age, but because of the connections, favorite, whatever it might be, he took Nathan in, and Nathan has got a wonderful job in Germany. But the problem is, I want to carry on and do these scholarships, but there is no life and there's no jobs in the UK through the United Synagogue to employ these wonderful youngsters who need it. So they have to go abroad. They have to go somewhere else. English boys are very welcome to be put forward and to be trained at Tel Aviv under Naftali Herstik. But we should try and guarantee that the United Synagogue, in all its wisdom, should make a turnaround and employ some of these youngsters. The youngsters deserve it. Look at what Yossi brings to Edgware. Tremendous. I mean, I'm so proud of Yossi, and he's welcome at our conventions. He's welcome to help our youngsters, and he's always welcome to be part of it. Thank you, Spencer. Thank you, Edgware, for employing a chazan, a real chazan. Baruch Hashem, you should go from strength to strength with much nachas and give me so much pleasure. Thank you, Yossi.
Kind words. Flora, unmute. Unmute. Unmute.
I'm trying to. Oh.
You're not unmuted.
We can't hear you, Flora.
I hear you, Flora.
Well, I unmute and it keeps going
You're
back
okay
to
now. Go ahead.
right.
Go ahead.
Thank you, first of all, Spencer. Thank you, Chazan Yossi. I'm one of your aficionados, you know that, and it's wonderful. But I want to say this for Alex. We know how fantastic you are, and we're very lucky. But Alex, I want to say that my husband, Zichron Livracha, was head of the teenage centre in Edgware, and your brother, Julian Zichron Livracha, he was one of the teachers there, and he was an amazing teacher. And then I had the zechut to teach with him in the Machlakat Limudei Kodesh in the Jewish Studies department, and his passion and his sincerity always shone. And I learned a lot just watching him davening when we used to take the mincha in the afternoon for those children who wanted to. And I must tell you that he really was an amazing person. And it's a fantastic thing you're doing in his memory. We had a lot of close connections with Sandy when he married Sandy. So I hope she's listening. I don't know if she is, but she has a lovely daughter. And I'm always thinking about them. And I'm so happy to see you there, and that your darling Julian, your darling brother Julian's memory is, because also JFS, he was phenomenal as well. He was just a very passionate person who loved his Judaism, he loved his Chazanut, he loved his davening. And it was a pleasure. And I want to thank you. And I want to, Yehi Zichro Baruch.
I'll take one more comment or question, if anyone has one.
I'd like to say thank you to Flora very, very much. And if anybody is free tomorrow night, because it's a plug, I am being interviewed about my life and about me and how I grew up, my childhood with my brother, how I became involved with ECA. So tomorrow on our ECA series at 7 p.m. You can tune in like you do today, and it's on our ECA Facebook page. Please
I don't have Facebook.
Well, or you can do it through
Zoom.
No, you don't. Yeah, it's on Zoom, and you're very, very welcome.
How do we do it on Zoom? Can you tell me what?
We'll tell you afterwards.
Yeah,
Okay,
Spence will tell you, but you could find it. Oh, it's just been put on now. So,
So I'd like to thank Yossi for agreeing to be interviewed for this session. I think we heard some wonderful music tonight. Elliot Gollan for acting as facilitator, and Tony Honigberg for downloading and preparing all the recorded music. Our next session will be on Tuesday, the 21st of December, when John Lawrence, an elder of Edgware US, will present a program, Memories of Edgware United, which will be the last event in 2021, celebrating our 90th anniversary. You'll hear nostalgic stories from leading members of the community from the past. The next monthly cantoral session will be on Tuesday, the 4th of January, 2022, when Rabbi Jeffrey Schistler will lead a session entitled Star Chazanim of the Provinces. Details of the Edgware sessions are placed on our website, www.edgwareu.com, or alternatively, you can contact our office@edgwareu.com, and ask to be placed on the circulation list for the adult education program. Recorded past sessions are on our Edgware US YouTube channel, and this session will be uploaded immediately to YouTube. Thank you for attending tonight. And if you're not in Edgware United, try to persuade